Keepertje maakt het moeilijk. Hele goed gedaan, keeper. Oh. We maken maar bang.
Ik ben nu live op YouTube, jongens. Oh, dat is spannend.
Oh man.
Hey, mute ons wel even.
Waarom?
Nou.
Lekker man.
Een broodje gezond is niet eens gezond.
Kom maar.
Nee, hoe weet hij dit? Hoe wist hij
Live
dat?
op
Hoe wist hij
YouTube
dat?
met FSCS.
Drukke boy.
Hoega!
Yo.
Goeie bal.
Nee joh, hij is weg. Keepertje, maak het moeilijk.
Nee, bro.
FSCS.
Fucking
Lekker go.
FSCS viewing party. Hi chat. Yo Reda, yo Jaro, yo Sam, yo Freezy, yo Max. Welkom bij de stream, man, boys.
I do believe our friend Levin2k right now is in the creator lounge, so let's see who he's got.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Yes, we are in the creator lounge and I'm here with
Ik heb het even promoot. Kaboom! Hi chat, doet Boega mee? Ja man. Yo Quinten, yo Jarro. Boys, het potje begint over 3 minuten en 25 seconden. Dus even kijken. Dit thumbnail is wel echt lelijk man chat, maar ja. Zo. Daar gaan we. Daar gaan we chat. Kaboom! Hey. Daar gaan we jongens. De viewing party. Grand finals. So many. Dat is echt kololo. Kijk die namen gewoon chat. Dat is echt fucking vet ouwe. Misschien zien we slik wel ergens. Yo Yassine. Dat is goed man Sam. Woe! Misschien zien we slik wel boys.
Langer vol dan deze guy.
Hey Schot. Schot.
Hey, je moet zijn?
Ja.
Slik zit daar toch ook ergens?
Ja, maar ik weet niet waar.
Hey.
Daar komen ze hoor. Daar komen ze boys. Daar zijn ze. Ja, Slik zit daar niet om te spelen Yassine, maar om te kijken. Dit is toch crazy. Je zou er maar zitten. Je zou er maar zitten. Je zou er maar zitten.
They're ready to start to play the game.
I want it gritty.
They're ready to make some noise. So take it all in.
Hi boys. Boys, blijf allemaal op de stream man. Boys 5. Kom op boys.
But this time, you don't want to make it your last.
Come on man.
You can feel it. You can feel it in the air. The tension is real. Yesterday, those players were a lot more animated. Today, the focus is next level. We saw them there for a moment. Canada and Agers, a duo that if you had said they're going into the lower bracket, I would have said, nice, that's a funny joke. But here they find themselves. Canada and Agers, your Chapter 4, Season 3, Major 3 champions.
Oké jongens, Canada.
Honestly, yesterday was a little bit rough for them.
Wie denken jullie dat er gaat winnen chat? Wie denken jullie dat er gaat winnen?
It's a different story. They're going to be uncontested. And if there's anything that I know about Canada, it's that when he is uncontested every single game, he's going to find the damage needed for Storm Surge and find every.
Als Boega weer wint, dan heeft hij nog meer geld, bro. Dan heeft hij nog meer geld.
We got a duo for you. It's Podesai, it's Snazy finding themselves here in the lower bracket, but the fight's not done.
Hoe jong zijn hun?
Make some more noise!
Die mensen hebben zoveel geld, jongens. Dat is echt bizar. Echt bizar.
Yesterday wasn't great for them. It wasn't a great day. But they can come back. They can definitely come back. They couldn't quite make it to endgame yesterday. Such a little bit of a problem for them.
Kliks moet winnen. Denk je dat Kliks gaat winnen? Yo Henk. Denk Malibuka en Thomas. 100% moneymaker.
And it looks like so far they're definitely doing that.
For sure. Now, of course, we've seen these duos yesterday, but there's 25 from the last chance major.
Of Vino en Riet? Ja, Vino is fucking goed, hè.
Let's go ahead and meet half of them right now.
Our first group of our last chance major qualifier teams, and let me tell you, they hope that is not the last time that you see them here this weekend. They're looking to put everything they burn throughout the year to the test.
Mr. Savage, hoor, daar is hij.
That already have the experience on the stage.
Well, just because it's their first time on stage does not mean it's their first.
Daar zijn ze, jongens, daar zijn ze.
They are familiar with what it takes to find themselves
Daar zijn ze.
royales that matter most, so they can keep.
Yo, Jelle. Voor je 50 kijkers, like hem op de stream, man. What the? Big boy, kast toe? What the? Slik is hier? Ja, man.
This is just one group of so many superstars you're gonna see this entire weekend.
Zag je Slik ook? Zag je hem, Dodo? Ik heb hem nog niet gezien. Dat is zo vet, ouwe.
Will finally get to take the stage. Now, Mini Minor, what can we expect from this duo from EU?
We can expect excitement, right? We have Janice, the big brain IGL, FNCS winning pedigree across different seasons. Reason, considered one of the best fighters in EU still. And I'm surprised. It's taken them to the last chance majors to qualify for today. I mean, after day number 1 of major 1 of grand finals, they were in.
Man speelt met oortjes. Moet je met oortjes spelen?
Huh? A little bit of contestation issues in the last chance major as well, so they just about battled their way through. I'm glad they are here because they can put on a show.
Absolutely, and a duo from NA sent it.
Nee, eerst oortjes, koptelefoon naar ook. En waarom dan? Waarom die oortjes dan? Polarized. Polarized is ook zo goed, jongens. Klik zit een beetje aan het einde. Kan je een screenshot maken, Dodo, en naar mij doorsturen? Oortjes voor Discord en mensen uit de game geluid. Yo, is een Ninja Boy. Hoi Sterra. Hi Diffie. Diffie mag maar echt niet meer, hè? Diffie gooit altijd haat echt maar. Kijk jongens! Kijk jongens, kijk Slikkie zitten. Slikkie! Waarom ben jij dat niet? Ja man, shit. Shit man. Volgende keer beter boys, volgende keer beter. Ja man, Diffie. Yep. Hoe gaat het? Gaat lekker man, met jou? Ik zweer boys, dit is zo lauw als je hier bent man. Dat is moneymaker, waar? Waar? Eerst in het begin. Oh, heb ik gemist. Zijn ze? Kijk maar Robert. Yo Jan. Yo Papa Indo. Boys, like allemaal even de streamen, wordt gewaardeerd. Lucky is live op Twitch, weet je waarom hij niet mee moet doen? Kijk hem.
Originally, they're part of 2 separate duos, but their dual mates couldn't make it. So now they've been allowed to come together and form one duo for the Global Championship.
This is a really interesting storyline. Kirby and Wixie, of course, coming from different regions, a little bit of a language barrier potentially there, so they're going to have to sort of use the in-game tools to communicate, landing it to the north side of the map, just to the west of.
Al lang gedaan, SNEO maat.
think they might have a few issues.
Zitten er rare NPC's tussen? Ja, maar dat is logisch, bro.
Just outside of that drop to take
Logisch.
advantage of them, but anything can happen. This is why I wanted to talk about this duo, because literally
Doet Boega ook mee? Ja, man. Hey boys, zien jullie wat aan die stoel? Zien jullie wat aan die stoel, bro? Zien jullie wat aan die stoel, boys? Volgens mij heb ik dezelfde stoel, hè, jongens. Let's go. Let's go. Ik is boos.
Listen, I mean, I love where they are dropping. Kenjutsu crossing. Of course, we saw Queasy and Eveno do very, very well from this drop spot yesterday, right? Kind of taking the reins over from them. And honestly, I was looking towards them because I was like, hey, I think they can do
ik zie het, meest.
from this drop spot. But of course, it's the lower bracket. It's Fortnite. It's the global championship.
Hij dronk alcohol en rook tijdens het verblijf. En dat was verboden in zijn contract. En nou. Dat is ook niet slim, bro. Waarom zou je dat... Daar gaan ze, hoor.
That is crazy. And if I remember correctly, these guys were at invitation, right?
Nee, dus ik moet even FIFA kopen. Ik kan wat donor gold doen, maar ik kreeg de laatste tijd toch weinig donors.
I mean, we have to talk about it, right? Any of the duos that have experience, especially the ones that have been, you know, together when it comes to an international event.
Ja, mix. Alles goed, boy.
Some of these duos, one half of them kind of have that experience as well. So I'll be excited to see, you know, if they can kind of take the reins and make sure that they stay cool, calm, and collected under the pressure.
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned they're now contested because
ja, genoeg maar mees.
Anything can happen. These guys would
Ja, gaat lekker man aan, mix. Yo, Bram, welkom misschien, maat.
I mean, that's gonna throw a huge spanner in the works.
Yo, top Job.
They would be preparing, yes.
Oh, leeg. Het is leeg.
Next thing you know, 2 Australians, they're flying in. And these are all going out the window. All the plans are like, hang on a sec, what's happening here?
Good toy.
This is why we talk about adaptability so much. Not only in the whole game, the whole meta, the whole season, but hey, in this format, that's when you need to be adaptable. And I wanted to kind of...
Dan maar met oortjes, zoals...
Something we talked about originally was that it's only 5 games where it used to kind of...
Mr. Savage, oh my god. Crazy. Yo, Sparks. Kijk hoor, jullie horen nu even niks. AirPod. Nu hoor je lid. Hey, we zijn gaan slik net zetten, Jesse. Ik zou je tunnel naar je nieuwe kapsel veranderen. Ja, Mika had geen tijd voor een nieuwe tunnel, man. Klopt. Klopt. Voor 57 kijkers, als iedereen nu lijkt, kunnen we makkelijk die 60 gaan tikken. Hoeveel minuten geleden? Kijk dit. Oh, arme slikkie. Kijk hem daar zitten.
Is a clutch situation.
Yeah, and one team that is synonymous with clutch, Steno and Lucy. I was speaking to a few people earlier, a few people were around me. I was like, who do you think is going to win today?
Oh, no.
Is it Steno and Lucy?
Doe wat je kan. En wij doen wat we willen. Jij legt kom en ik ontspan. Let's go, man. Ik had helemaal mijn tipje niet open. Jarro met een 3 euro donatie voor FIFA. Heb echt zin in FCS. Let's go, man, bro. We gaan er een leuke stream van maken. En thanks voor je 3 euro, man, bro. Misschien als, moet ik gewoon een donor call doen. En dan voor FIFA, voor de mensen. Maar is er naar jou, man, Jarro? Lol. Is er naar jou, bro?
We've got to make top 25. You could argue maybe just try and do something and kind of keep.
Maar hoe laat gaan ze in game?
Secret and just hope that you can kind of save that for tomorrow.
Ze zijn nu gewoon allemaal aan het settelen. Mogen ze niet opwarmen?
It's just not. You just got to go full send now.
Nah, I mean, if you're holding back now, I think you're trolling a little bit.
Maar ik zag dus op TikTok, jongens, dat de servers echt fucking laggy waren gewoon. Pieter wat? Ik heb zijn settings overgenomen van keyboard, jongens. Zijn sense. Ik koop 52k packs van al mijn coins en ik pack niks. Eindna. Pico moet deze bracket winnen. Pico, goed man.
There's no point in hiding them away. We saw some great strats yesterday from Zagu and Pepper with using the shield mushrooms to get some extra surge. Some great ideas from these teams that we haven't seen on other regions, and that's what this is all about. Who's going to pull what out of the hat?
I love that too. I mean, social media yesterday and even today was just like,
Dit is wel echt
what
vet hoor,
is the
jongens.
strategy? Yes, that's what we want to see. We want to see what they're thinking, what they're cooking, and then come out tomorrow.
Jongens, als jullie een ticket zouden krijgen, zouden jullie dan hier naartoe gaan om te kijken? Zeg maar, je moet wel zelf de vlucht betalen, hotel, alles. Maar als je gratis ticket zou houden, zou je dan heen gaan of niet? Ja? Tuurlijk? Nee? Nee, ik denk het ook niet, man. Kijk, het is wel lauw dat je hun in het echt ziet, maar ik denk eerlijk, als je nu hier op YouTube, dat je het nog beter ziet dan gewoon als je daar zit. Maar misschien is het wel een hele ervaring natuurlijk. Nee, want ik kijk wel thuis. En hoe zit het dan met voetbalwedstrijden? Daar heb je gewoon wat je kan. En bij... Jaro, met nog een 3 euro donatie. En dan zeggen wij, oké, nog eerste. Kom op chat, jullie willen toch FIFA zien? Oké, nog eentje, kom op, jullie willen toch FIFA zien? Kom op man. Oh, D Jaro. Loop man bro. Thanks voor je 3 euro, nogmaals. Boys, mag wat hartjes in de chat voor Jaro man. Jaro wil FIFA zien jongens. Jaro wil FIFA zien.
Headshots. Yeah. Headshot snipes actually were the ones that actually ended up closing out their games for them in both of those scenarios. So maybe there's something they have to switch up there. An adjustment. Maybe they're not used to dealing with those snipers, but I'm sure they can do it.
I mean, the biggest problem for this team throughout this whole year was Storm Surge coming out of that racetrack spot. And they were uncontested in Major Number 3 Grand Finals. They fixed their Storm Surge problems, and Vivid, would you like to remind me what happened in Major 3 Grand Finals on NA?
Oh, they won.
Oh, they won, that's right. So hopefully today, if they can find that same mentality, that same way of playing, they'll do alright.
Well, I'm getting word.
Even kijken hoor. Jay, als je kijkt, kijk even je snap.
Of Global Championship Day number 2, so casters, take us in.
Now is the moment you have all been waiting for. Game 1 of the lower bracket is ready to get under.
Daar gaan we jongens. Daar gaan we.
I would be on the edge of my seat ready to call this action.
You can feel the nerves that have just been
Daar gaan we
the
jongens.
entire time. Everyone here is just wide awake. And the
Hey, ik hoor de battlebus jongens. Ik hoor de battlebus. Ja ja. Daar gaan we met je 1. Daar gaan we jongens. Zo vet dit hè. Zo vet.
Of a journey for some, the continued journey for others. We already seen some drop spots.
Als je dit gewoon wint, zo rijk jongens, dat is echt abnormaal. Daar gaan ze hoor. Dit is Indo spot. Top telefoon leeg ja man.
But it looks like they're actually going to split off. They don't want to go ahead and hold on to one spot, and as soon as they realize it's safe, they go back to the game plan.
Ah, slim. Slim. Yo Maarten, volgende keer doe jij hier aan mee? Sowieso.
As we can tell, the 50-50s, they have begun. Teams that got the better drops already letting their opponents know. Chubbs with an early 2-piece eliminations to start the game.
De man pakt gewoon 2 kills gelijk. Hilsem. Fancy. Het is gewoon belangrijk jongens dat je gewoon snel doet. Snel farm. Want deze mensen zijn allemaal goed die je tegen gaat komen. Deze ken ik niet. Dit kan een leuke fight worden. Siphon en Tourney, ik denk het niet man. YouTube beeld is kapot donker. Ik denk dat het aan jou ligt man bro. Ik denk dat het aan jou ligt man Stan. Even voor iemand.
So I feel like
Hij gaat niet voor een beam. Hij heeft alleen eens een cheat.
is going to be before them. They want a little bit more loot, a clear path towards the middle of the zone, even though this time it's on the corner. Right now they're trying to get the flag, and third party already interrupting this off-spawn battle. That's going to force Adapter back, and he might have to go ahead and loot. He only has one combat SMG and not much to work with.
Ze willen wel fighten hoor, want ze... Ja, je moet wel.
But at the same time, they're just letting the capture point go for free. And in fact, it seems as though there is some danger hanging on over by Naughty Nets. Saw a nice collection elimination there from Steno.
Wie gaat er winnen? Ik denk dat Fico een grote kans heeft. Ik heb gisteren niet gekeken, dus ik... Kijk, als Kliks natuurlijk zou winnen, of zou dat wel dik zijn, man.
And epic contested over towards Mega City, but I feel like that's no different. All season long they've been contested about 2 or 3 other teams, but there's so much space.
De Mega City, ja, Mega City is groot, man.
As long as they don't get caught off guard.
Voor wie zijn jullie, chat? Voor wie zijn jullie?
At the same time, there is so much traffic inside of Mega City, and as far as the vault is concerned,
Wait for
there's
you?
definitely something worth fighting over. You have to
Doordat Kliks wint?
that regardless of where that high card spawn is at, people are going to be
Hij heeft zijn buik gewoon op die tafel gezet.
That vault key card.
Oh wow! Actually, they weren't necessarily contested. They were taken out on their drop. You saw Video go ahead and get that reboot card, trying to give his team.
Canada was gisteren 4-5 keer geoutpopt door Malibuka, dus zij kan zijn spel spelen. Wat bedoel je? Ik speel je deze game niet mee? Ja, ik ben al dood, man. Sorry.
You see, the fallen teammate, Deguro, was going to be
Die Octus speelt zo low.
No matter what, as he continues his journey, he's going to have to try to get that reboot card because doing this alone is not something anybody wants to
Zijn team is al dood, bedoel je? Of speelt hij gewoon heel het toernooi dood? Hij speelt controller. Dat is een duo van Buuk. Oh, hij is zo erg genaaid.
Deep in the jungle biome here at Rumble Ruins, especially in this lower
Zo lastig dan.
territory, he might be able to sneak up on some other teams.
Yeah, I like the way you mentioned Surge as one of the first things.
Yo, long.
If it's shown us anything, Surge is not the easiest.
Daar is Canada.
Like this. And uncontested this time around, Canada and Agers getting a chance to fight off spawn, and immediately they go to what they know works from the past.
Stormbreaker, hè, boys, is ook punten. Pico. Pico tegen Pink.
Another team that has experience from day one.
Shadow.
Acorn and Cold. This time around, they're ready to take their fights to their opponent. And on the other side of things, it is going to be Bully and Shadow.
But look at this hype battle as well.
Als Buuk gedisqualificeerd, hij ging drinken en sigaretje. Dat stond niet in zijn contract. Dus hij heeft dat gewoon geriskeerd om geen World Cup te spelen. Of FCS. It's crazy, bro. Don't check out.
En wij doen wat we willen. Jij ligt krom en ik ontspan.
Jaro met nog een €3 donatie en dan zegt oké, laatst dan voor de FIFA chat. Boys, mag ik een W in de chat voor Jaro, man? W in de chat voor Jaro. Let's go, man, bro. Top donateurtje. Boven mijn hoofd. €9. Lol van Jaro. Appreciate it. Geen FIFA kopen? Jij denkt dat ik van €9 FIFA kan kopen of zo, Mees. Maar is er nu Jaro?
And it's got to be such an invigorating feeling knowing that you have so many fans in the venue just cheering for you every step of the way. It's not even like these guys are getting a piece of the action right yet. They're just
77 kijkers, boys. Lijkt allemaal aan de stream, man. Ja, Casino ging heel goed gisteren, maar... Gaat goed, man, zoals ik het is met jou. Pellawise zit voor ons erheen te kijken voor Storm Surge.
Use this to try to qualify. We'll figure it out later because that's the biggest things.
Je moet zo anders spelen, jongens. Kijk, als je bijvoorbeeld Solo Location speelt, het is zo anders spelen dan dit, want dit is... Moet je zoveel meer nadenken. Het is echt bizar. Het is echt bizar.
Trouble now. Not for Podesai just yet, kind of lurking around this bush. He knows that he's got Couple contenders down beneath him, and as for Shalom and MK Papa.
Oh, zo Dodo. Ik snap het, ik snap het.
Kind of tough to try and fight that uphill battle, quite literally.
Dat is een chick, Sam, die we nu horen. Dit is de eerste game, Alvietje. Zeker.
Can be difficult as well when you're playing right here on the edge side of where these zone pulls are happening, because again, for Podesai, it seems as though the intent is just to prioritize positioning.
One team that
En nogmaals, Jaro, thanks voor de support, maat. Wordt gewaardeerd, bro. Voor de legende die Jaro.
Zone is pulling all the way towards the eastern side of the map. They have a long journey to go, and you can even see it at the edge of Mega City here on Pink and Vico. So they have even more rotations to go later on in the game. But for now, it's Batman, Booga, and Rapid who beat him to the punch. The top of the hill, just west of Mega City. And they immediately got out of Mega City, because that's one of the things we talked about to start the show, is how contested it is. They could easily take a building on top, but they're taking a little bit of the safer route, or what they thought would be,
Nee.
because right now Pink and Vico are
Wie is het dan? 2 AM, Batman, Booga?
see if they have any opportunity to take over. But if you can see in the minimap,
Booga is door?
the other way. It's not something they want to battle this early on in the game.
Jongens, dus dit zijn alle mensen die nog niet door zijn gegaan. Dus die hebben nog een kans. Dat is wat er nu bezig is, toch, Dodo?
Makes sense why you'd want to ditch from Mega City ASAP when there's 4 separate teams landing there. Again, it's just so much traffic to actually deal with. So
Booga is gekwald. Ja, ik snap het, ik snap het.
can be so important. I think for Rapid and Batman Booga, not necessarily getting.
Maar kliks is dan nog steeds niet gekwald.
It's not as bad as it might initially look, because they can always find the refreshes after the fact. Because again, storm surge strategies were definitely an issue for a lot of teams in day 1.
En game wordt het leukste om naar te kijken, Joe. Kliks speelde gisteren niet. Waarom niet?
To where they know players are going to rotate into.
Luc is gedisqualificeerd, Wout.
Mr. Savage, uncontested Northern Nets. That's a no-brainer that he's going to get him back into the game. Back up as
Moet de storm searcher farmen, jongens. Belangrijk.
They called out this strategy to start the game. They're trying to cover more ground. They're trying to take more space away. There's also
Hey, Sterra. Yo, Arnoud.
around the map for their storm
Geen
surge.
idee.
They already know what has happened in the past when storm surges.
Ga is dit de tweede sessie? Kijk, er zijn 75 teams. Gisteren speelden er 50. Waarvan er 25 doorgingen. Over 25 die gisteren niet speelden, spelen vandaag tegen de 25 die niet doorgingen gisteren.
Mr. Savage is mentioning he doesn't like to be.
Oh, zo, oké. Maar waarom speelde die gisteren speelde dan niet gisteren? Want deze mensen hebben dan toch 2 kansen. En die anderen dan toch maar 1. Die snap ik dan niet.
Anything is truly possible as long as you have a chance, and they've given themselves just that. An opportunity.
Ja, Joris is als weer geband. Het is echt, wordt hem niet gegund, man.
That he's choosing out. First assault, scope salvo, 2 of the biggest ones that are needed when it comes to storm surge. It's gonna allow them to keep their distance.
Moneymakers nog gezicht? Heb ik het weer gemist?
Like seeing this from Kitos as well.
Ja, omdat we wat waren met Les Major. Ah, nu snap ik het. Nu snap ik het.
Looking good. Trying to see if they can push forward in this box fight.
Ik snap het.
Shots being taken by Podesai as well, just to
Deze mensen ken ik niet, man. Deze mensen ken ik niet.
Damage inflicted by either side just yet. But you and Jamon, they can definitely feel the pressure, and Podesai definitely aware of the fact that they've got more company coming.
Who already taken advantage of their position.
Oh nee, daar gaan Pink en Vico.
And a third party takes some shots onto both Pink and Vico, who took down Okus.
En Vino is al gekwald.
Weapon cache are going to be there, and you can see Yuma and Jamon probably share that same weapons cache, so they're going to be forced
Hoeveel is eigenlijk nummer 1?
leave off of this spot to try to pick up the scraps, figure out whatever is left along. But a team that, you know, taking a lot of time towards Slappy Shores. My only question for them is how is their surge? Because a lot of the teams on the western side of the zone for now, they haven't begun to rotate over towards Slappy Shores. Not a lot of teams landing here right out of the gate. So for them, that's probably what's on their mind right now. We've looted up, we've got everything we need. Now we just need Storm Surge.
That's crazy, but die zouden maar winnen. Op een fucking, hoe oud zijn sommigen? Sommigen zijn misschien 18, 17. It's crazy, boys. It's crazy.
And that's something that's not necessarily going to be easiest to come by at this stage of the game. And for Rapid
En dan komt het door Fortnite.
we talk about the fact they left Mega City so early and
dat je zo goed bent in de game.
to find that pressure
Dat is wel ziek,
situation
man.
to actually secure eliminations for the refreshes that they would like. And they don't necessarily have time to just farm resources either, because there's other teams moving in at this point. There's other teams already establishing good positioning off of earlier rotation. So if you try to expend your time farming resources, you're just going to keep getting lit up.
Yeah, and honestly, looking at 7-man's inventory now, you
Ben
can
je dus met pups, wapens? Nee, man.
retreat. But it's a little unorthodox. Typically, you would grab
Gewoon een toernooi.
something to pack a punch, whether it's a sharp tooth.
Oh, veel gezien van kliks? Nee, man. Nog niet zoveel.
For now, hoping that that mythic stinger does more than enough damage in a moment's notice to be able to survive.
Die controle guy krijgt niet eens een shotgun, maar hij heeft alleen SMG en AR, kan echt niet. Dat goed, Kev? Kappen jij Dippy? Lul? Alleen maar misgunnen. Nee, het zijn jou Dippy, is my G.
And Rift Island can definitely be
My G, my G, my
where
G.
we'd expect those battles to come, but even all
Valorize it, bitch, crack.
any sort of contestation over this Rift Island.
Eiland pakt volgens mij ook gewoon punten.
Some issues as far as maintaining his shields are concerned. Those are going to be completely depleted. Granted, they have ample
Hen, killed Hen, oké.
It's going to be Hen, it's going to be Bass actually looking to contest. They don't want to let this Rift Island.
We zien de stream als insane, ja. Kut man, boys. Kut man.
Surely they would try to take advantage of it, and you can see one man's trash, another man's treasure. Miro and Cooper sneaking up on the side, trying to take away the position. Their friends
Ze pakken gewoon eiland gewoon.
also willing to contest this Rift Island, and that's one of the things.
Eiland 15 punten.
Very passive yesterday. Even solos were able to take it, but as the VOD review goes on, as time passes, players are going to realize there's nobody up there. But when everybody thinks the same, now we have 4 teams on top of Rift Island.
Daar hebben we storage, jongens.
Hen and Vask, 141 above the damage threshold. They're going to be the
Maar bro, die spelers zijn dan toe lelijk, behalve kliks en boek. Dan heb je misschien wel 500k, maar geen bitches. Bro. Ze zitten alleen maar Fortnite te spelen. En bro, met zoveel geld dan komen de vrouwen vanzelf naar je toe hoor. Laat mij nou. Oké dan Sami. Kom op bro, positiviteit. Het leven bestaat in deze game, klopt. 407.
Quickly, they regrouped, built up a surge tower, and as you can see, they have vision on 2 duos of Jamin and Kanada, setting themselves up for
Kijk, gewoon een chickie.
late game. So let's see how they do.
Chickie gaat gewoon commentaar geven op dit. Je hebt wel ballen, maar ik zeg je eerlijk.
And that's the thing too about those teams that are
Die
landing.
patch jou via Discord? Nee, ik zit in een Discord call, maar ik weet niet of ze expres doen.
Slightly earlier drops to just pick you off with the elevation difference. It's one primary issue definitely known about that naughty nets area, but you can always expect to bounce back. I mean, we already saw the deal with the successful reboot.
Hoeveel mensen zijn er nog?
Easy to say that anything can happen in these
84.
circumstances.
Crazy.
Ja,
Ja, wat eten is smakelijk, Diffie.
Climbing back up,
Smakelijk, bro.
trading shots back and forth. You have their eyes set towards Rift Island. They see a giant monument being built on top as Polaroids actually took down Snazy up above.
Pixie is ook echt goed.
Opportunity for them.
Denk
They're
niet,
just
man.
looking around. Nobody's directly pushing up onto them, even though they are split. They're just looking for these fights that are already underway and just trying to take advantage.
Valorized, hen, zitten allemaal op eiland. Daar kun je gewoon goede storage uit halen.
Miro and Cooper are looking awfully vicious though in that position. You can just tell that they are waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike, and it's got to be only a matter of time. They can tell that there is so much chaos already unfolding on top of this Rift Island. Teams are just constantly under pressure, both outside and right here directly at the Rift Island. But for Vask and for Hen, again, you have to remember.
Oh, ik zou zo shaky zijn als ik daar zou winnen. Als ik daar zou zijn. Wie denk je dat gaat winnen? Ik weet niet zo goed, man. Ik heb me niet zo erg verdiept. Maar ik denk dat Fico wel een grote kans heeft. Met ping. Ah, kliks. Mij speelt hij met die epic whale of zo.
Seeing Vortex go down.
Ja, man.
Even Duke's trying to rise to the occasion here today after his performance yesterday.
Wat fuck, er stond Vaske.
For the FNCS
Wat
Global
Voske
Championship
gelezen.
final tomorrow. Jamon goes down. Yuma's gonna have to leave him behind, but he's only 72 above.
Oh, waarschijnlijk bij de vorige. Achterlijke diffie. Oh, dit is het probleem.
HP is going to be down low.
Dit is het probleem.
Be ripped off, and the shots continue. Finally, though, he does have a short moment to breathe, but that's only going to.
Dit is een probleem voor hem.
One Mimi, the Shalom and MK Pop are over on the other side. They probably know that he's a solo. They saw him crash land in with that rocket ram, and this is something that they're trying to.
Het lijkt nu al zo erg, hè?
They've just been playing
Echt bizar.
responsibility on this edge of zone, and granted it just moved in a little bit tighter, but for Yuma, now you can see him starting to get lit up by some of that storm surge. Accountability as far as your surge strategies are concerned, it can be very difficult to maintain it throughout because
Was dit wel dan waar voor die loot?
happening as some of the congestion builds along this edge of zone. And teams needing to move even further in. Players like Yuma are bound to get caught out on those later rotations.
Yeah, you can see there.
Nog 66 man, jongens. Ik wil zien hoeveel mensen nog alive zijn. Staat linksboven. Wat een emo's. Heel gewend. Dat is Vico hoor. Maar Pink staan er niet goed voor, jongens. Ze zijn 13 below. Vico gaat dood. Ja, daar gaan ze. Daar gaan ze. Lastig man, lastig. Oh ja, en Mr. Savage, denk ik. Die heeft kans en Canada.
Next to Agers, trying to be vigilant with his awareness. And again, so many teams just trying to keep tabs on where everybody else is in the lobby.
Boys, Leef Moneymaker, ik weet niet of hij in deze game zit.
There are a decent amount of pressure here.
Goed Sam. Nice, Rico.
Nicely timed shots, nicely placed aim as well with that sharp tooth to ensure that they can acquire that elimination.
Yeah, and since he got
Wel?
eliminated
Oh,
altogether,
ik heb hem nog niet voorbij zien komen.
went down earlier on in this same game. We saw
Nu niet meer, is hij nu dood.
took down Snazy, leaving Podesai by himself.
Zij is dood, hij na. Hij na. Turn search is active, boys. Hij zit 13 en bol. Was niet genoeg.
Slowly but surely biding his time, trying to make sure that he makes the right play. And this is an opportunity for him to really rise to the occasion by himself. And with Storm Surge shutting off for now, that at least allows him to breathe.
Kijk hoeveel mensen. Kijk rechtsonder, jongens. Kijk hier zo. Oh, dat is bizar. Dat is bizar.
And we're not even into the placement points yet.
The zone pull, a little bit brutal for some of these teams as it just keeps getting closer and closer.
Daar is kliks, jongens.
And again, for Agers and Canada,
51 HP.
get another opportunity to see from where we last
Pieter Watt, die natuurlijk ook kans.
on the landing. So many teams and right on the side of this hill.
Hij heeft niet zoveel match meer.
Fully understand the fact that he doesn't
What's bro doing?
on the low ground, but he'll be forced to take shelter, utilize some of his memes.
Hij had even error, Canada. Hij had even error.
Actually get an opportunity to get full shields.
Maar we gaan richting de endgame, jongens. We gaan richting de endgame. Zo. Oh, hij heeft siphon. Hij haalt het niet, hij haalt het niet. Oh! Gaat hij het halen? Hij heeft siphon weer. Met mist. 5 tick. Dat gaat hij niet redden. Gaat hij niet redden. Gaat hij niet redden. Als hij dit redt.
Just doesn't have the mobility that he'd be hoping for with so many teams having already
Nah.
pushed in. He might just barely make it in
Nah.
the nick of time. He's got to find
Oh mijn god.
but even just making it this far.
Dat is echt ziek, man. En hij is gewoon bij zijn teammate. Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck? Hoe heeft hij dat overleefd? Dat is crazy, man. Dat is echt ziek. Kijk die leg chat.
get aggressed on due to Storm Surge, and they shine bright. Storm Surge is not a problem from them as they pick up 2 eliminations.
Check out where Bryce and Chubbs are at a little bit.
Mr. Savage hoor, daar is hij. Stack. Hij stackt jongens. Met verdeal.
From rags to riches at the beginning of this game, they have done a decent,
Hoor mensen gillen, ja, ik hoor het. Hoe gaan ze moven? Gaan ze trappen draaien? Huh?
Some of these teams we were asking, do you got what it takes to get your
Je gaat nu precies een andere mens spectaten. Dat is de goat hoor. En hij is dood. De goat is dood.
If it goes back on over to the west, this is going to be a nightmare for anybody that doesn't
That's
have
Ping.
paths as Kliks is used the last little bit that he does
He's
have
dead.
left, but he finds another
Kliks.
elimination on the Ping.
Kliks, de goat. Daar is die hoor.
from Kliks, managing to find these players who are
De
looking to
goat.
just find that final push inward. But
Ik heb dus gehoord jongens dat zijn placement niet zo goed is laatst tijd. Alleen dat komt voornamelijk door het streamen. Maar als hij niet streamt, dat hij gewoon echt aan is. En nu zie je dat ook weer man. Is het nog steeds de endgame? Dus laten we even hopen voor Kliks man boys. Fishy op the high ground. 131 below. Kijk, in de endgame is het wat makkelijker om iets te doen. Oké, weer van deal. Dood. Van deal is dood. Mr. Savage leeft nog. Van deal is dood man. Hij blijft even een stomplaytje maken. Nog meer floppers. Oké, goed. Nice. Bro, Mr. Savage is zo goed, chat. Oké, Kliks leeft nog, zijn team is dood. Kill hem. Dead. Hij heeft geen niks meer. Nee, zonde. Clement, die was net chilling.
The fact that he's managed to stay this far into the game as a solo, you just know that he is going absolutely insane right now, trying to keep the run alive.
Is hij heel de game al solo? Dat is wel ziek man. Dat hij nu nog leeft. Chubbs zit op de hype met Bryce. Die zijn chilling. Oh, dit, softing. Ik zag het wel, bro. Het is Clement. Gaat hij het overleven? Denk ik niet, man. Denk ik niet. Ja, GG's. GG's. Ah, goed gespeeld. Canada is daar. Ik ga zo naar leaderboard staan.
The patience. It's so hard to be patient through all this chaos as well. It's so easy to get
Down, hij
distracted.
heeft 30
This
match.
is the perfect time to strike. A drop down to the low ground here for Canada.
Hij heeft 2 builds, jongens. 2 builds. Teammate is dood. Zou Source. Koper. Dead. Oh, dit. Oh, had hij bijna tegen. Chubbs op de high ground. Allebei gewonnen. Ziek.
I call them one of the most underrated teams falling under the radar this weekend. They played phenomenally to make it to this point, and they make a statement here and get one of the
Sta je dan? Sta je dan?
How are you feeling? I mean, my friends at the party group would like
Oh,
to
ze
know,
vinden het
so
zo
I will ask
ongemakkelijk.
you first,
Oh. Sta je dan?
Are you feeling a little bit overwhelmed about the fact that you just took a victory royale here on land in Copenhagen?
Yeah, I'm nervous.
I can understand why you might be nervous. I do have a very scary face. So I'm going to come over to you to talk me through the last moments of that game.
I don't know. We just took high and we won.
You took high, okay. Well,
You took
talk
high
to
and
me
you
about
won.
the journey there. Did you feel like the zone was in your favor the whole time?
No, it wasn't at all.
Okay, well, how did you get around that situation then? How are you able to make the most of what may
Staat hij dan, hè? Heeft hij de game gewonnen? Staat hij dan?
Just we got surge and we had forecast, so
Ja,
we
maar
where the zone was.
we pakken uit.
There you go. Simple.
We hebben gewoon de game
Everyone hopefully
gewonnen. Staat hij
listening
dan?
here will find
Zo.
out how to win a victory royale online thanks to these two. Just before I let you go, do you think you can overcome the nerves and pick up another victory royale today?
Yes, I think we can.
Brilliant. Wow, you know what? Now you've said that, I think you can too. Copenhagen, please give it up for Bryson Chubbs.
Crazy hoor, ziek. Gaan we even naar de...
You know,
hoe heet dat? Scorebord kijken.
games yesterday were crazy.
Oké. Is dit het? Zit ik goed? Waar moet ik zitten? Chat, help mij eens. Cito, D2. Maar dit is toch niet goed? Je kan toch niet al 200 punten hebben? Dag 3 is niks. 200 punten kan sowieso niet, jongens. De screenshot, je moet Fortnite checken. Gaan we Fortnite opstarten dan.
Game. I think I saw Bryce with a fishing rod. You know when you're carrying a fishing rod in the last zone? Things are looking rough, but it didn't work out too bad for him, did it?
Absolutely. Game 1 here on day 2.
Kan alleen Fortnite? Ik ga even mijn Fortnite opstarten. Dankjewel, Dodo. Yo, Christy.
And now they just got to bring it back. More of what you do in game number 2. Now let's take a look at these standings. I want to see how this went. Now, of course, there's actually so much to talk about. Really quickly.
Oh, this is stand al.
Cooper and Nero, we saw Chubbs and Bryce. It almost could have gone the way of Cooper, but riding as a solo rider, still a second place after the first game. That is a
Canada, derde, netjes.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought these guys up because yesterday wasn't too great for Cooper and Miro. And
Er is connection niet, man.
that Cooper played that endgame. Such
En jullie hiervan, mensen? Is alleen top 10? Ja, weet ik.
Wait, Miro is playing with Cooper? This up-and-coming player, Miro himself? And I think Cooper has just proved why he deserves to play with Miro, a player of his caliber. He's
dit klopt wel.
moments on the big stage, and it didn't quite work out in a victory round for them.
Oké. Comments doen het niet? Oh. Yo, Casper, ik moet dat even fixen dan. Dit staat. Oké, laten we eerst kijken wie de laatste staat. Ik ken niet iedereen, man, jongens. Ik zeg jullie eerlijk, als jullie ze wel kennen, maar... Vortex ken ik. Jullie ken ik. Moneymaker helaas 0 punten nog. Maar ja, als je Osman doodgaat of zo, dan kan je niks aan doen. Fico, helaas met 4 punten. Polarized. Je hebt gewoon letterlijk 1 game, een win nodig, jongens, en dan ben je back. 1 win nodig en je bent back. Klik staat 15e. En top hoeveel gaat door? Mr. Savage 11e, oké. Top hoeveel gaat door? Top 25, oké. 25 van de 50, oké. Ja. Het is gewoon een game goed spelen, man, denk ik.
Was it an EUGO? Yes, it was. I'll give you the answer straight away. And that was something that I was really surprised at as well. That island contest.
Ik hoor je.
More teams went up for it, it seemed like, but
Boys, voor de mensen die mij nog niet volgen op Instagram, enigszins kijkers, volg mij eventjes op Instagram, man, boys. Ik merk dat ik te weinig mijn Insta ga pushen. Ik moet ook meer dingen posten van mezelf. Ik heb vroeger heel veel Fortnite. Ja, dat ging best wel goed. Maar nu is dat gewoon niet meer de play, man. Dus ik moet gewoon meer zulke foto's. Ja, niet. Eigenlijk. Kijk hoe mijn haar.
Why did we just give that?
Als ik nu kijk, jongens, het ziet er echt niet uit.
Me and Minnie, we were watching sort of the west side of that zone, and there were so many teams that actually ended up being.
En door jullie moest ik ook mijn sikje en snorretje scheren.
Teams that were actually up on the Rift Island, they were happy with their position.
Maar volg me even op Instagram, man, boys. Kleine moeite toch? En ik moet daar een beetje meer actief op zijn. Dus ja, man. Iedereen had een sidepart, bro. Als je gaat kijken. Ik had nog. Weet dat? Ik zou wel afvoeren. Ik weet niet of het slim is ook dit doen. Kijk hoor. Kijk hier, kijk hier.
Absolutely, and why don't we hear from the players themselves? They have their own thoughts on mid-match objectives. Take a look.
The mid-match objectives are really important.
Laat me even kijken, jongens. Ik zie nu even de chat niet.
Big risk sometimes, but if you're good at fighting, it will make the game so much more easier.
For the first objective of the game, the forecast tower, there's a lot of reward. I mean, you get 2 slurps, a gold AR, and you can see the future zones.
Você pega uma torre que ela prevê a safe.
Oh, dit is echt erg.
Kijkers, stond dat jullie...
No. Chat. Kijk. Ai, Carlitos Gama. Jongens.
Kijkers, stond dat jullie...
Iedereen heeft zijn tijd gehad, toch? Snap je? Oh nee. Iedereen heeft zijn tijd gehad. Boys, ik was daar al bezig met YouTube, hè? Op een ander kanaal. Daar maakte ik al vlogs en shit. Wil je het horen? Het is maar 19 seconden, want ik ging zeg maar alles plakken en
Kijkers, stond dat jullie kijken naar een gloednieuwe video. Ik ben Kevin en vandaag zijn we weer met een vlog. En we zijn deze keer in Toverland. Ik denk, het is kinderachtig, maar je ziet die attractie al. Het wordt gezellig, leuk en blijf vooral kijken. Let's go!
Oh, chat. Oh, chat. Oh, dat kan echt niet, jongens. Dat kan echt niet.
Dan de video van vandaag. Yo kijkers, totdat jullie kijken naar een gloednieuwe video. Ik ben Kevin en ik heb al een maand geen video.
Oh, ik kreeg hem op mezelf. En die beugel ook. Kuifje, ja, dat kan echt niet, jongens. Dat kan echt niet.
Yo kijkers, totdat jullie kijken naar een gloednieuwe video. Ik ben Kevin en ik heb al een maand geen video upgeloaden.
Wat doe je nou, Kevin?
Sorry ervoor. Ik heb dus hiervoor een plan bedacht. Heel simpel. Gewoon een rooster maken weer wanneer ik wat ga uploaden.
En weer een beetje spraakgebrek, hè, Kevin. Beetje moeilijk, hè, praten.
En jullie moeten er natuurlijk ook mee eens zijn. En zet mij in de reacties wat je ervan vindt. Ik laat het blad wat ik geschreven heb nu zien. En als jullie dat niet kunnen lezen, heb ik ook nog iets bij notities gemaakt. En als thumbnail ga ik dat rooster erop zetten. Dus jullie weten sowieso wat mijn rooster is. En ik ga gewoon vanuit dat alles ja, klopt. En wat jullie willen. En ja, noem maar op. Oké.
Je rooster, ik weet het wel, ja. Hoe kijk je op terug? Besef hoe ver je bent gekomen, bro. Hier had ik nog 100 subs en shit, hè. Hier had ik nog 100 subs en shit.
Hallo kijkers, tof dat jullie kijken naar een gloednieuwe video. Ik ben Kevin en ik heb al een maand niet upgeload.
Dit was mijn rooster.
Nou jongens, dit is mijn rooster. Op maandag een lekkere Fortnite stream.
Ik ga helemaal stuk op mezelf. Ik ga helemaal stuk op mezelf. het al begonnen?
Not wanting to push up just
Is het al een game? Wacht. Met 2 seconden.
Dinsdag een Fortnite video, woensdag een video. Kan een game of vlog of wat dan maar ook zijn. En hier hebben we donderdag heb ik gewoon even lekker vrij bij YouTube. Ook wel eens lekker. Vrijdag een Minecraft stream op Fortnite, wat jullie vroegen heel veel om Minecraft. Dus dan vrijdag is er een streampje voor. Zaterdag is gewoon een stream. Wat jullie willen op een video. Bijvoorbeeld GTA 5. Zondag hebben we een misschien een stream. Dus
dan hebben we misschien een stream.
Ik weet niet, soms kan het wel een stream zijn. Maar ja. Dan de video van vandaag. Vond je deze video leuk? Geef dan een blauw duimpje omhoog. Vergeet niet te abonneren op mijn kanaal. En dan zie ik jullie morgen bij een Fortnite video. En dan zeg ik zoals altijd. Ciao. Dan de video van vandaag. Vond je deze...
Ja, we gaan weer Fortnite kijken, jongens. Oh. Kijk, je hebt goede en slechte tijden, jongens, in je leven. Dit was, ja, uiterlijk,
Not too many teams contesting them. Maybe one north of Shattered Slabs, you know, King and Phaser towards their left, and a double contest station on their south towards Relentless.
Dan zie ik niet
They're kind of using all the time that they have to their advantage, so that way they can have these safe rotations. That way they have an opportunity to play out, and they're going to be one of the first teams rotating out of that side. And Taco, I think we've
En even eerlijk aan de Mac, fuck jou. Ik was dus ook gekwalificeerd. Wat denk je, ik heb controle vergeten en toen is ik werd naar huis gestuurd. Ik heb je mening? Ja, dat is kut, man. Kijk, weet je wat bij mij gebeurde? Ik was te laat, man. Ik had vliegtuig gemist, man. Dus helaas. Kan niet.
We talk about surge strategies all the time. And hey, if it works, it works.
Right now, he's got to be able to capture the other one. But it does look like Gon was able to kind of get his teammate eliminated. No free search for you anymore. And he's hoping they move off that spot so that way he can get the reboot card back. Get his teammate back into the game like we saw.
Die 10 seconden boeit niet zoveel.
And we saw how fruitful it was on those reboots. They were able to get far into the game.
Ik ga heel even plassen, jongens. Ik ga heel even plassen.
Such a risky attempt at that. Kaizen and Clement split up, looting up, safe as can be, but Hen is doing the same thing, and nobody is nearby, at least for now, but the zone is going to force these guys over towards the east, maybe a little bit towards the north, so eventually they're going to run into some problems.
Hey, look, we talk all the time about players splitting off from each other, looking for opportunities. One might be prioritizing farming out resources, the other looking to try and secure as many search tags as possible, but when you are this far apart from your duo, you have to be certain that you are not going to have some unexpected companies spring up on you, because if that's the case and you're not able to actually provide that backup that you would like, it could be a very quick downward spiral before you have a chance to recover.
Ik heb eens aan het kakker, chat. Duurt te lang? Nee, joh, ik ben back.
Looks like they wanted this fight.
It's a bird, it's a plane, no. It's just Death and Tahi trying to go up and over King and Phaser. Didn't work out. They land right at the top of that mountain along with them. Shots going through the build for Phaser. Him and King, they've already had their chance.
Maar waar gaan we pizza maken, man? Maar op de barbecue. Ik weet niet waarom op de barbecue, maar ik weet het niet. Hij ook.
And this is where the strategy, formulating some sort of a plan, maybe a little bit of a bull rush to try to take them out while they're separated, while the strength in numbers is high.
This goes for both duos. You can't get too distracted and tunnel in on one unless you are certain that your time to elimination is going to be fast. Other teams already starting to take note of this battle that started to break out just outside of Shattered Slabs. Death and Tahi, and Phaser. Oh, well, they've got a couple.
Boys, hebben jullie nog wat video-ideeën van mij?
All around the map.
Hebben jullie nog wat video-ideeën voor mij? Wat niet veel geld kost en wat een beetje doen is voor mij.
And already you're seeing where these players are positioned at towards the northeastern side of the zone. They're kind of hoping it goes over towards Brutal Bash and maybe even Sanguine Sweets. Something that they can work with so they can hold their spot and gatekeep these players out. But Pixie, you can see him just putting some shots, not finding too much success, but he's not giving up very many shots either. But Nico is down. Now it's Pink's turn to try to hold Tenso down. Nice shot, nice knock. Has to reload though. The mistake has happened, but he makes up for it. Pink stays alive, but there's...
Wat zei je?
We zijn naar KC te gaan samen.
Ga naar Schies toe. Ja, dadelijk gewoon eten. Helaas. Okay. Wat een lul, Jesse. Waarom is die een lul? Oké, dan Diffie Robin. Hoe gaat het met Diffie Robin? Wat een goed gesprek, ja.
Push at the top of a building, and you know that building's not initially supposed to be there, Jacob. Players are usually gonna box up around themselves while actually moving.
Yep.
Right there.
They're sticking to the game plan. They know teams got to rotate in that position. Eventually, Perza gets tagged up, trying to refarm as much as possible. His teammate doing the same thing. They get themselves a sliver of the zone just on the edge. They can
Ik weet niet of je nog in de stream zet, Jarro. Maar SNL man, thanks voor de 9 euro tot donateurtje. Taal. SNL maatje.
Skid's trying to make up for it. His teammate's very low HP. He's
Wat
trying
een
to
gunner.
breathe. The elimination and the siphon's gonna go through, but it goes to Skids, who already was full health. Rivers trying to battle back with a little
Video, al mijn PR's verbreken in de gym.
All the same. Skids and Sora
Oh, die ga ik
stay
opschrijven,
on
man.
top in that exchange, and now they get so much loot for their efforts.
5 eliminations, by the way. Already 20 points collected for Skits and Sora. If you add that with a relatively decent placement, and these guys could be having the game to really mark themselves on the leaderboard. But the fact that they've already seen so much action, I'm curious as to how well it's going to translate.
Die verhaal van Archer, ja, ik zag hem man. Je hebt zin hè, Jay?
That their
Je hebt
surge
zin.
damage is definitely well above the threshold.
Yep.
Kijk hoe goed drank daar is. Oh, ha bro.
Didn't really go their day yesterday, but if at first you don't see
De
it, you try
eten,
again.
niet normaal.
Bully and Shadow, you saw them kind of contested. You can see that North America has won 4 of the 6 matches played this weekend. NA is showing that maybe it's not as EU strong as it once was at the Invitational, but this is only the first 2 days. We haven't
Bro, ik weet hoe het daar is, Jesse. Er is altijd veel drank, altijd eten.
Things can change because we know the EU region likes to go ahead and VOD review. They like to practice. They like to save some of those secrets, if I may say so myself.
Ik kan niet. Je kan wel.
A decent amount of animals for the time being.
Alleen, je vindt het niet waard.
Keep that trend going. Keep in mind their day 1 certainly did not go the way that they would have hoped by any means.
Ja, goeie shit man.
Made it this far is already a testimony to the fact that day 2 is definitely looking better than yesterday's.
You can see how well it's going for them. This time
Let's go, my Jarro.
Off the drop, uncontested, but quickly moving around. With the zone pulling towards the east side yet again. It's only a wonder what happened and why they made an opposite decision of what they made last game. But I trust
Wat die appelsap, Sam. Hoe oud ben jij, maat?
Kaizen and Clement, they're not too far off where Kanata and Agers once just were.
Daar is je maatje Clement, Jesse. Ik heb het geitje, wat deed je zien? Ja, dit bro. Ook genoeg? Ja.
And that way they could probably rotate later on in the game. They could probably be one of the first ones now that they don't have to worry about it. But for now, they're just getting their loot cache, just trying to go ahead and shield up. They're ready for this next rotation. Azazi does go down.
Ik moet zo even mijn haar doen, het zit echt slecht. Nou, ik heb het niet gedaan, maar het zit heel goed voor mijn ogen. Ik moet dinsdag naar de kapper.
Another team on top of Mega City, just trying to get their surge themselves. He has plenty of heals to work with. My only
Nee, als we gaan kunnen we ook al eten. Ja, klopt. Ja, Jay.
So he only has enough time.
Ik vraag hem aan mijn moeder laten we gaan eten.
Heals though, that aim just keeps conveniently strolling through. You almost have to
Ja,
wonder
dat is goed,
if
yes,
this was
Jay.
initially somebody else's base center over at Mega City. I mean, when you have several different teams that are choosing to prioritize landing there, you have to expect that
Ja, maar dat je vliegtuig hebt gemist, ja. Rip, man.
as many of those shield potions as possible, so that way they can maintain a good height positioning.
Op je mama erbij, ja, maar je kan.
Search tag, so definitely convenient for aim.
Dat kan echt niet, Jaro.
Here at the creaky compound,
Laat ga je naar archiefs. Zo snel mogelijk. Als ik heb gegeten, daarna gelijk.
That are making the first strikes.
You see they're fighting over that weapons cache, and Noxie and Chris, that third party, is like a fly out.
Daar is Moneymaker rechts in beeld, ik zie het wel.
Just taking some damage, forced them to kind of disengage off the fight that they were
Rond
trying to be
6:30?
aggressors on.
Ja, zoiets.
For Shalom and MK Papa, this is their chance here. They have the opportunity with so many extra heals
Zoiets,
there. They're already in
zoiets.
zone. They can keep that base as
Ga je een keer controle voor je keyboard doen? Ja, maar weet je wat dit is? Bij Ram, mijn controller is stuk. Dus ik heb geen controller meer.
They almost get beat to the punch by Moneymaker. And down goes King.
Doen de Nederlanders mee? Nee, man.
To the punch, along with Fanine. Those two probably not going to waste any time as far as trying to actually base up.
Nou ja, veel plezier vanavond, dankjewel, Jesse.
That capture point on the Rift Island, they'll also have the convenience of being able to get that overhead view of all these teams underneath. As far as MK Papa is concerned,
Later met Jay. Tot zo, jongen.
Another player across the way, it's going to be Miro. And Miro, Cooper, we saw them last time, kind of hovering around this Rift Island. They know that there's going to be a decent amount of players kind of taking note.
Dus in chapter 1, ik denk dat een beetje... Ja, zeg maar... Jullie denken dat chapter 1 zeg maar echt dat ding was, maar... Toen waren we jong, je maakt dingen mee met je vrienden toen je nog jong was. Het gaat meer om de herinneringen dan zeg maar echt de man. Dat een beetje gaat tegenvallen.
Team in game 1 to make that one come true, but this time things have gone a whole different way. They're below the storm surge threshold, slowly falling farther down. 63 below though with nice shots. And Tabasca, he got the rocket ram out. He wants to finish and clean up some of those shots, but it's King and Phaser over on the other side, and he's ready to have a crash landing. First one goes in, second one lands right next to him, but a couple shots land onto Hen on his way there. That's going to slow things down just a little bit, and that could be a blessing for King and Phaser, because now they have a chance to stabilize.
That's the problem as well for Hen and Bask. I mean, you spot a great opportunity to actually
Wordt pas na de game aangepast, man, maar nu Chips en Bright.
Immediately lit up. There's just no such thing as a free rotation in these types of lobbies. But for King and Phaser, that little moment of breathing room might be all that it took. As they look to continue playing through the backside, King's gonna find a good backside peek opportunity. Doesn't necessarily connect though like he would have wanted onto Hen, but Hen and Bash, they're under enough pressure as is. It's Moneymaker, keep in mind, he was the one at the top of Rift Island. Seems as though Moneymaker and Fanine, they're ready to play with everybody else on the bottom.
Yeah, they thought they had the line of sights in their favor to where they were directly under Rift Island. Somehow Moneymaker did find that angle. Like I said, it just takes some time for a player like him to try to heat up. As Hen's now stuck by himself. Luckily thing for him is he's above the damage threshold for now, but he knows that is right around the corner. Gonna be haunting him like it's Halloween. Check a little bit of a replay here. Way trying to put the pressure onto both Bully and Shadow. Bully gets knocked first. That might even be 7-man trying to steal away.
Je ging met auto's toch? Ja man, een feature.
Two separate teams. I mean, how are you really meant to box fight when you've got multiple directions that you have to be checking for against multiple teams? Definitely not the way that Bully would have hoped to go down, but as far as Way and YKZ are concerned, with that collection of an elimination. Now continue trying to press their way forward. It seems that they're trying to avoid.
Volgend jaar zitten jij en Jordi er ook. Precies, jongen. Precies. Ja, is onze klik, jongens. Kliksie. Oh, eentje is gelaserd.
firing shots off into the distance, and then instantly closing the cover. Doesn't want
Nice,
to get caught out,
Pico.
even though he wants surge. He doesn't want to give up any free surge either. And you can see Pink, he escaped
Pico met
almost
Pink.
getting eliminated early on in this game, and he found a way to get Vico back.
Zit ze in de zone, hoor.
They're below the damage threshold when it comes to Storm Surge. Luckily for them, it's only 6. That is barely anything. They just got to breathe on another team, and now they're hot on the heels of Batman Booga. This is the opportunity that they're trying to take in order to climb above the threshold before they fall
die
too far
crashpads zijn echt goed, man.
Definitely won't take much for Pink and Vico to get themselves above that damage threshold.
Oh, ik zie het, 150 mats. En we moeten er wel voor gaan.
Not very many builds for Vico to work with.
Lijkt zo hard.
Largely due to the fact that they had to go for that remove ban opportunity. They didn't actually have the time to look to farm up as well as they would have liked, given the pressure they're under earlier. Vico, he's also going to eat too much damage in the process. They're trying to make it into the edge of zone, but it's just being safeguarded by so many teams already set in place.
Wow, nice shot from Pink onto Rapid. Batman Booga there to save the day and instantly going for that revive, judging by the slurp juices as well. Waste no time to heal on back up.
Hoe oud is Cap? Hoe oud denk je dat ik ben?
That allowed them to get surge, even if they might not have necessarily needed it. But from one team down below surge to another, Clement and Kaizen, but they're in a whole different situation because their surge is now active and they're taking so much damage, and all the heals have finally been used. So time is running out. Lucy goes for a Pink. Nice shot's going to be landed. Even he is below surge.
Good, man.
Two teams below surge going
Leg so hard.
Tries to go ahead and bull rush into the box. He gets denied that opportunity. Bushi with only 20 damage to do. They box up the man. They get that elimination and a huge amount of damage to boot.
It was just a moment of desperation there from Clement, but what other options do we realistically have? And even for Steno and Lucy, they collect that elimination, and it's still just barely going to be enough to put them above that damage threshold. This lobby is moving and not in the direction that they would have hoped.
This time around, you see a lot of players, even if they're above, it's not by much. It's not a feeling of comfortability whatsoever. But they know these opportunities will continue to come later on the game. Kaizen is able to do some damage before falling.
Daar is Steno, die kan ik niet.
There to save the day as well. 27 above though. Slowly but surely climbing, but 98 in a lobby like this isn't much.
Crashpads zijn echt de movement.
Just take it one step at a time, one foot in front of another.
Suns and Anand though, the fact that they're still making this work after how this game had started off for them is definitely some.
Oh, dit dodo. Ik heb een keer een Dretta gekillt. Ik heb een keer een Dretta gekillt. Hoeveel FPS spelen ze? Goeie vraag, man. Ik denk gewoon 42.
First, they've got to make sure they're able to acquire the position that they need to be in the first place.
Ooh. It's no bueno. Ooh. Storm Surge and Mr. Savage deal targeting them together.
Ja, die is kut. Vind je Polarized? Fucking goede speler.
As he can, but Badil and Mr. Savage, they don't want to let these 4 points and all that loot go out of their way. They're just trying to push themselves into the box, leave no option for their opponent. He's doing what he can to dance around, but the elimination is going to go through regardless. Even though they did take some damage.
Dit hapert zo erg, ja, dat is lag, man. Dat is lag.
Slap splashes to try to get themselves back up to tip-top shape.
Ik weet niet wie dat is dan, Sam.
Is going to be far. We're going over towards the side of Brutal Bastion.
Mr. Savage en Wave deal.
Easy. Everyone else, good luck to you.
Moneymaker leek nog eens. Moneymaker.
Is certainly pretty dangerous.
Spectate hem niet, man.
Snazy and Podesai though, they look like they're set in a decent spot for the time being. Crashpad gonna take them a little bit further in. Coming up on the backside here.
Ik zweer, Crashpads zijn zo goed.
And Fishy, just keeping in mind some of the teams that they're working their way behind. Podesai and Snazy, it looks as though they want to get aggressive here, but instead Podesai has to rethink, doesn't want to use that Crashpad just yet after taking such huge damage from behind.
Goes for a cheeky edit, bounce pad junior play. It costs him a lot of HP along the way. Daisy who didn't have any bounce pads, choosing to use the first of 3
Even in de jazz. Ik weet niet of hij dat zou willen.
It could be a good call for them as Podesai finally catches up. The loot is going to be dished around, but you can see the last of their heals. They are running low, so for them, a refresh is imminent. It is going to be needed, and you see Agers by himself as well below the threshold. Kanata fell not too far, not too far to go, but there's a lot of pressure on the shoulder that he's felt before in their
We gaan weer de endgame doen, jongens.
capitalize on it. The time is running out. Storm Surge doing
Gaan
so
we de
much
endgame in.
damage. He's going to be in the same position as the other teams that we've seen. He's using a lot of heals just to stay alive. Even if it's not Storm Surge, that stays your Podesai on the other side.
Storm Surge is the Ager's biggest opponent right now because as long as he's given the opportunity to connect, those shots are going to put him exactly where he needs to be. Just a moment of relief here with 23 above. Roman Replay also going to take him in decent ways with that soaring sprints. And again, Agers just barely managed.
Hij is echt mee aan het klutje, deze Agers. Agers. Ja, hij is dood, Canada. Canada is dood. Hij heeft weer 6 niet bij rapport. This guy is goed, man. Yo, kick.
There's actually 6 solos in the game as of now who lost their teammate. And they have the world on their shoulders to try to make something out of this
Hij heeft nog 2 slurpees. Weinig mens. Ja, uitspraken, mijn uitspraken. Oh ja, namen ben ik niet goed in, massa. Namen. Weer. Goeie damage.
By Rapid and Q&D. It's sneaky as well. This underbelly type of play over here at the Brutal Bastion. Podesai now looking to work his way through.
Podesai.
Only has this heisted accelerator.
Heeft helemaal niks meer.
He's got to be quick with the action.
Oh, de.
Shots gets the enhanced effects, but
Die Maven is goed, hoor.
just keeps it moving instead. Doesn't want to stick around for
Zo,
too
die
long. Doesn't want
Maven
to
is
risk
goed.
the backup opportunity from some of these other duos. He just wants the tags. He just wants the damage because that's going to buy him more time.
I feel like I got deja vu all over again. Podesai, solo.
Moet gewoon zorgen voor meer placement.
He made something of it in that last go around. Can he repeat? 164 above the damage threshold as well. Not too much to worry about when it comes to that part of things. It's all about just staying alive. You don't want to run into the wrong duo. Maybe one that's on the other side of that Storm Surge threshold. He knows so many other teams are below.
Wie zit er op high? Is het weer Brick en Chubbs?
This is almost like a repeat. Price and Chubbs on the high ground.
Ze zijn weer op de high, boys.
They said it's simple. They said it's easy and they're ready to prove it be.
Nobody else is going to try and challenge for high.
Ze zitten weer op high, het is ongelooflijk. De mensen die nu op high zitten, zaten vorige keer ook op high chat. Voor de mensen die het niet weten. En die hebben de game gewonnen, man.
Being applied to his build, he's down to just his last 2 remaining. He needs a refresh of some sort, but whether or not he's going to be able to find it is a different question altogether.
Zijn ze nu al gekwad, Dodo?
Half of those points come when you reach top 10.
Ay, nah.
The other half are in the top 10.
Ja, hij wist gewoon dat hij dood was.
But he goes down. That's Clicks. That's Epic Well.
Dat is Clicks.
Clicks gets knocked.
Clicks.
Epic Well knows to try to go ahead without.
Ay.
But a misplay on the bounce.
Hij is ook dood.
He falls as well.
Maar die was ook dood. En ze zitten gewoon erbij te chillen, hoor. Ze zitten gewoon erbij te chillen.
We're talking about consistency, and right now for Bryce and Chubbs, so far they're consistently holding on to that high PX in. Ketos trying to tart through
Crazy.
secondary high layers. So far, haven't managed to encounter anybody just yet. Agers, though, breaks through the build and he doesn't want to find himself behind. That's going to be an elimination. Credit to Shalom is now PA's in. Ketos try to tuck their way forward. Crash pad, get a shot up on height, but it's not enough to actually break anything or knock down Bryce.
Yeah, but they're one of the few teams that sees what's going on above. They can easily try to make that a target if it's something they want to do.
Is dit, jongens. Controller player.
You heard him qualifying in that last game thanks to a big clutch by Quanti trying to keep that
Reason
show on the road.
met Janice.
Janice trying to make
Dood.
up for it. Elimination.
Geen match meer. Ay,
runs out
nah.
of build, runs out of math. That's Noxie who's going to be able to take him down.
Quanti and TK, they seem to have found a slight gap.
Net kick play.
Oh,
ze zitten niet meer bij.
PA's in and Ketos, though, they've managed to make a resurgence for the high ground. Pixie and Cheatin down below on the opposite end of the spectrum. They're still forced to deal with some of the congestion that remains.
Mij is dood.
Bryce and Chubbs have a chance brute, win from the high ground, win from the low ground as Pixie takes down PHN.
Oh nee, hij leeft nog die Bryce.
Now it's going to come in handy. As soon as somebody else does eliminate it, that is going to be TK who cleans that one up. Only one player here left as a solo. Quanti going around.
Hij is 1 AP. Nee, holy shit. En Bryce leeft nog. No way. Nee, oh nee. 2 tegen 1. 2 tegen 1. Geen match meer. Nice. Ziek hoor. Ziek.
What a way to state your victory royale. Cheatin' and Pixie wasted absolutely no time with taking over the logo.
Zwetertje met een €2 superchat. Let's go, was zwetertje. Legend. Lol.
How did it feel on the lobby today?
It's really nice. Like, we are full sec the whole game and just played it out.
Yeah, you did play it out. You almost made it look easy, but it's not.
W zwetertje in de chat, my boys.
In front of a very loud crowd here in Copenhagen. How are the nerves right now?
Feeling a bit nervous, but it's fine.
So how did you control those nerves when you were in those final fights?
Yeah, we just went full low ground and just won the game from there.
Do you think that low ground is a strategy that can work for you all the way to Sunday?
I'm pretty confident that we are doing good on Sunday, so we just keep going.
Well, you're doing good right now. For you, how did you get ready for this experience of being on LAN?
We practice customs a lot.
Deze is down. Ik heb dit eentje. Het is een helemaal zwetertje, lol.
Check it out, guys.
Iedereen die nu meer dan 9 punten heeft is sowieso al gekwald.
Do you think you can take another victory royale?
Laten we
Now
kijken.
you've already got one.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, well, I love the confidence. So,
Oh, dit is dan nog steeds de eerste.
For the next battle bus as we head back to the desk. Congratulations.
Pixie, deze hebben net gewonnen, jongens. Deze hebben net gewonnen. Canada, top 4. Refund duo 7e. Flex 10e.
That's an EU team. Yep. That's an EU team
And
that's got a victory royale. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine, and it's gonna be on top. It's fine. How do you feel about that one, Mini Miner?
Feeling great. I mean, what a win. What a way to close it out. Really happy.
Top 25 gaat door, jongens. Dus iedereen die daaronder zit, die is niet op dit moment nog niet gekwald. Waar is dat moneymaker?
Right there, just fragging out so many limbs from these guys in those latter stages. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, I love this actually being so resourceful here is Pixie and Cheating, right? Look at all of the splashes that they have, you know, somehow, by the way, managed to keep onto, and eventually they're like, you know what? There's no reason for you to fight for low ground. Why don't we just go ahead and play this?
Oh, here, 13e.
They did so at the perfect time.
Zeker?
Working out.
Yeah, it really did.
Holy
I
shit.
love that from this duo. It just shows the brain that they have.
Holy shit.
Let's get into that zone. Let's close out this game because PHN and Ketos did a very, very good job there. Taking height at a great moment. Didn't quite work out for them getting second, but great job from Cheating and Pixie.
You talk about PHN. I mean, I just want to take a moment here to highlight this duo. They take ultimate height here over ice. You can't build up there. You can't break. They're like, we're up here. I don't know what in the world Ketos is doing, okay? But did you all see that shot? He lands.
Lees voor het bericht. En morgen ook viewing party.
Builds are broken. He's coming down. It's
Hoe laat is het? Hoe laat is dat?
Him. He is him. Yeah, I mean, hitting that falling shotgun shot. We see them sometimes throughout Fortnite competitive history, but that one had to be like the best one, right? He was literally falling, ended up surviving 1 HP, but the only reason he had enough HP to actually survive the fall is because he hit that shot, got that.
Ja, misschien kan ik dat wel doen.
So disgusting. Here are the standings as we take a look. Remember, if you're just
Waar komt dat haar onder je mond vandaan? Ja, die komt uit mijn kontband niet zo. Zeg maar, wat er ook gebeurt met haartransplantatie, doe ik zeg maar hier zo. Snap je?
Paired up with the elimination, suddenly up 13 places.
Zeker.
How do we keep this momentum going?
High ground clearly is doing well. I mean, we're talking about Bryson Chubbs right here, taking high ground at a really nice
Vandaar
moment.
even de
Again,
tip.
this was
Ja,
another
het is
of
goed
those
man,
games
niet
actually closer to them.
Wil je volgend jaar ook
Some of the
met
games
dat
in
zien,
this
hè?
game, it was a very nice zone for them. We saw in the first game, it was not a very nice zone at all, so far away. So this just brings excitement for me when it comes to.
Hij is wel gebeamd uit de lucht hoor, kijk dan.
Absolutely miles away, and yet again they've performed with that third place finish right there.
In een paar maanden ik hoor je bro, ik hoor je.
Yeah, they figured something out because
Nu
every
wil ik
time
ook wel
I'm
een stukje.
watching from like 5th and 9th zone, I'm like, oh my gosh, these zones, they just keep pulling
I loop it,
away, which usually in this type of meta, they have to use all of their builds to actually make some of those
Zorg hem maar doen,
But
chat.
Bryce and Chubbs just seem like they're always in such a healthy position when it comes to how many materials they have.
Dit is
I
het
have no
kappertje.
idea how they're doing it, but it is working out great. And then obviously the transition into the height takes, so good.
What's crazy to me is after game 1, Bryson Chubbs, you know, you could tell they were.
Nee, ik kan vanavond niet bij zijn casino stream zijn, Alvintje. Vanmorgen ga ik misschien wel die dingen doen.
So on form. I mean, if they can bring that.
Ja, klopt man, Dodo.
How far could they take it?
I mean, hey, listen, you know, we've seen some teams already, it's particularly yesterday, I think Queasy and Venom, right? They're pretty good at higher ground, so contesting them up there, that'll be a tall task to try and tackle. We still got 3 more games to go through though, so I'm excited to see who else maybe tries to contest them up there.
Well, let's take a look at the high ground.
Kijk hoor.
We got to come to the Brazilian region to take a look at how this all unfolded, but from their own perspective. Once again, just disgusting play we are seeing. And what I love so much about the competition, boys, it's not just one duo. There's so much action across the map, so many duos all looking to perform.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at this duo right here, going for so many of these little pre-edit refreshes. That's how they were able to get, of course, the bills to go all the way up on high ground. You can see what it means to those guys. Of course, not quite closing out the victory, but they know exactly what happens when it comes to those end games. If you can consistently make 1 or 2 end games in this 5-game tournament, or this day, I should say, I mean, they're looking good for qualifying to tomorrow.
Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. Guess what? We have Levin 2K. He is standing by. Let's go see what he has for us.
Yes, Zeke, I am here.
Is Moneymaker überhaupt? Oh, hij is lang. Of hij is klein.
Nico, you've got to tell me, man, how you feeling, how you enjoying the event so far?
Oh, maar klaar.
Hello, I'm very
Hey, chill je bro.
It's very good and
It's very good, huh?
It's very loud. You can say that for sure. Tell me,
It's
who
2
are you
meter.
supporting for? Of course, you're representing M8, so I'm sure you're supporting them. But tell me in particular who you're looking out for.
Hoi Macy.
Of course, I support the best team in the world. Gentlemen, look this New Jersey, very beautiful and
Very beautiful.
Look at them.
Play aan doen, is goed man Jay. Ik zie je zo
They
hoor.
are the best crowd, it feels like right now.
I
You've
see you
obviously had
so.
experience playing on stages like this as well in your career. You competed at the highest level before. Do you have any advice for any of these players on this stage here right now?
Dat is ook niet Moneymaker? Nee.
I think no, just focus on yourself and your game and that's it. Huh?
Advice for his favorite
Hij is
players. Everybody
Frans.
else, he doesn't really care too much. Fair enough. And I guess the only thing for me is, do you have anything to say to the ultras?
I know. What can I say? Like, this is the best community in the world. French, look at them.
Allez blue, as they say. Back to you, Zeke.
Zeg je die kid, jongens.
They are going crazy.
Wacht.
I guess the only thing for me is, do you have anything to say to the ultras?
I know. What can I say? Like, this is the best community in the world. French.
Oh, achterlijke.
Game number 3.
I just have one question. Do you think they would accept me? Can I
Oh,
be
the
ready
legend.
for today or maybe even the weekend? Because that is absolutely insane. I'm across the stage. I got headphones on and I hear them like I'm sitting right next to them.
I'm sure they'd be more than happy to bring you on board, Jacob. All you really need is a matching jersey at this point, right?
Ooh, I might have to grab me one of those because Stacey and Podusai have been playing crazy.
Oh, ik hoorde bij de bus weer hoor, jongens.
Because it starts now.
Ja, dat denk ik ook, Manuchu. I got right foot quick up is Socialido.
Halfway point, game 3, where teams will have their backs up against the wall if they don't reach inside of that top 25 or as close as humanly possible. I say humanly because some of these guys are playing like they're robots. They're like insane out of this world.
And hey, for some of these teams, keep in mind, entering game number 3, the cutoff threshold right now for that top 25 is going to be 36 points. there is a decent amount of ground to cover. And game number 3 would be the perfect opportunity to try and find your place on the leaderboards if you haven't already.
Moneymaker hoor, daar zijn ze. Ze gaan gelijk in fight.
Getting some minis. He at least got a silence pistol. You see the shield.
Kom op, even die 17k aantikken. Kijken hoeveel ik nu heb.
That's at least going to give them information if they cross any one of those paths. Moneymaker cuts off the launch pad, doesn't let them go anywhere.
Dat is Moneymaker, jongens. Hij heeft hem.
Strikes first, even with the shield turrets doing so much damage. He's able to do what he can, but it's blocked off. They went for it again. Jamon's getting trapped.
Daar hebben ze hem hoor. Nog 13 subs, boys. 13.
Place those cones preemptively. The moment that Moneymaker saw Jaemon make that initial escape, he was
Toen 100k subs, XD. Ja man, dit.
That leads to 2 easy eliminations there.
Hallo Florian.
I mean, when a duo self-isolates, well, what else are you really
Yo, Jari.
Moneymaker making the most of that opportunity.
You can see Suns and Anon.
Moneymaker domineert, jongens. 13 jaar.
We're ready to take it over as their own.
Wie staat eerst daar? Ik wil het even laten zien, Sami.
Things are working out just as they planned up into this point. A little bit more loot towards the top, even finding the sharp tooth, breaking through the walls.
De guys die de eerste game hadden gewonnen, man. Chubbs en Bright.
They all had see each other there. Suns repositions. Anon does not though. He gets
Zijn teammate is dood.
He's trying to draw them in. The turret there to spot him out. At least his position is going to be known. Suns doing
Oei, 50 HP. Teammate.
But Adapter is there for the bait and switch. He gets spotted out as well. These turrets are giving so much information, but it's just not enough.
Hoe is dat Moneymaker? Die staat 13e, man. 13e.
Just looks so awkward for Suns and Anon. Suns especially seemed as though he hit that moment of hesitation for whether or not he should actually try to challenge up on that balcony.
Turrets zijn ook goed, ja klopt.
Hey, as far as Kenjutsu Crossing is concerned, that's not going to go Oshi's way in the slightest here. Opposite side of the map though, at Sanguine Suites, Peterbot and Byla recognizing the fact that they're under a little bit of pressure from that mountain just north of Brutal Bastion. And again, for Peterbot and Byla, you have to consider, Peterbot's been talking all week. Top 25.
Wat hebben we vandaag allemaal gedaan en wat gaan we nu nog doen? Ik heb vanmiddag even gestreamd.
And it's not looking that easy to
Ik
actually
heb
be in the top 25.
Yeah, they've already pushed that one team off, trying to get Sanguine Suites as their own.
Ik heb al gezeten, even Fortnite met Scottboy gespeeld. En ik ga dadelijk naar een feestje toe van Chiller. Ik weet niet of je hem nog kent, maar daar ga ik het doen.
Any sort of
Dat is
resemblance
gezellig.
to that last game, it's no worries. Kido's is as strong as can be. He already picked up a second place by himself. And since it's so early on in the game, there's so much opportunity for him to go back and get that
Chiller,
get his teammate back up. Because
Is
it's only
Chiller?
happened
Lol,
times
lol,
on the
lol.
day so far.
But also, as far as Kido's and PH Zen are concerned, they've built
Zal ik doen,
themselves a pretty surmountable amount of points here. Heading into game number
Doe geen
3,
Nederlanders mee, Bart. Nee.
we're leading in that second place position on the leaderboard. Have to consider them relatively safe as far as their spot in that top 25 is concerned. So maybe not as much
Say Sam,
Sam. As far as whether or not he'll be able to get that reboot off onto PH Zen. For a team like Noxie and Chris, that's just another 4 points to get them that much closer.
Yeah, yesterday we saw 25th qualify with 91 points. Can't say that's going to be exact here today, but at least they have some sort of goal to achieve. Anything is definitely possible, and you saw to start the game off that
Dit wordt een fight hoor, denk ik.
and Curb on the other side, putting some shots down over towards
Ja, dat is awareness bro, dat is awareness.
They try to get
Lelijk
aggressive,
awareness.
but it's the angles from both Cheatin and Pixie, the game number 2 winners, that are trying to chop him down to size. You see Pixie.
Weet je Kevin? Ja man, zwetertje. Die zit er comment heel veel, alleen ik heb me gedempt.
Hopefully it's not a misstep. They're separated. This might be the saving grace for both Kirby and Wixie because
En nogmaals zwetertje, thanks voor de 2,50 gemaakt. Wow.
He's ready to finish this fight. Breaks
Oh,
into the
there.
box and takes down Cheatin. This is what we came to see. A duo from 2 different regions coming together to make one. is already coming out on top.
44.
Another shot, but that backs Wixie
Ah, bro.
Wixie though will finally get knocked. Siphon going to be immediately
Deze boys, hij heeft vorige keer gewonnen.
with another massive shot off that sharp tooth.
Hoi!
Inside the box, Pixie down to 1 HP. Kirby low enough as well. He actually thinks better of the immediate push in. Whoever comes out on top here
Hij is
might just
30
have the opportunity
HP.
to look for that reboot card, reboot opportunity. But Kirby faring certainly significantly better.
Nice
than Pixie for
pick,
the time
nice.
being. No, Pixie able to find the refresh that he wanted as far as materials are concerned. These resources taking him so far. And Kirby just
Hoezo
unable
zit je in kalm dat ik daar net in
to
zat?
right away. He knows that he only has a limited amount of time to work with here before his opposition starts trying to close in himself.
You see him taking this time. Try to pick some augments, seeing if anything helps him in this exchange.
Relatively even though, health-wise.
Nou, ik wil nu wel een andere fight zien hoor jongens. Oké, zoals jullie zien, top 2 is nu al dood. En de rest leeft nog van de top 5.
Drain Pixie dry in terms of materials, that could be good, but you see over towards the right side, Sanguine Sweets. That's Peterbot and Bylaw. If they look on over, see this action going down, that's a possible third-party opportunity for them. Maybe even 2 eliminations. So they have to be careful which way they travel across this mountain. But it does look like Kirby is going to be the first one to try to disengage. Got the reboot card and trying to stay alive so that way he can get his teammate back into the game.
Schoenmaatje, schoenmaatje.
Numbers is huge in an event like this.
Pretty decent tag there from Pixie, but it is going to give Kirby a decent indicator as to how far up Pixie actually is. And
Kijk, Kirby, dat is ook niet slim, man. Je weet toch dat hij nog op je kijkt.
Like to go for the disengage, probably recognizing the fact that pressure from Sanguine Sweets might come sooner rather than later, but we're talking about pressure here at the Creaky Compound. Soref and Skits.
Doe je wat niet kwam? Nee, man.
Good chunk of aggression out of Raru and Greedy.
See, it's pausing for a moment.
Daar is de kast hoor.
Rightfully so. You said slap dab in the middle of Creaky. There's so many teams around them, even more pushing in. They are on the edge of zone, so you have to be very careful. I think they know that, and that's why things have come to a halt. If they make that wrong move, it might not be even the original opponents that were fighting that does the brunt force of that damage. And it continues to push towards the east this time around, but instead of the north, it has a southern lean when it comes to the zone. So they realize their journey does not stop here. They want to get as close to it as possible. But sometimes in this game, Taco, you have to wait for your opponents to begin that rotation.
Hij zit ook echt in zijn scherm eens.
As far as rotations are concerned, though, for Pixie, it seems as though he's willing to take his time here on that mountain just north of Brutal Bastion. The problem at this point, though, Jacob, definitely starts to become just how much time is really worth investing here. Because it seems as though Kirby is definitely cool with
Boys, ik heb JJ Bosker een DM gestuurd. En hij heeft gereageerd. Kijk, ik heb nog heel veel Pokémon kaarten hier liggen. Echt heel veel. Maar ik weet niet wat goed is en wat niet goed is. En ik heb hier ook nog heel veel. Maar ja, ik weet niet wat het waard is, snap je? Heb je die wel gevolgd? Ja man, die heb ik hier.
Nice find by both Pink and Vico to take down.
Alleen, ja, het is een beetje lastig om foto's te maken. Wacht, ik zal wel gewoon nu... Zal ik nu gewoon opnemen? Want hij heeft al gereageerd op mijn DM. Nee, even. Yo, kijk, zoals je hier ziet, ik heb heel veel kaarten hier. Heel veel kaarten. Ik weet niet of het goede kaarten zijn. Dit moet ik even anders doen. Ik heb hier heel veel kaarten liggen. Zo lang heb. Dit is de basisschool eigenlijk. Maar ik weet niet of sommige bewaard zijn of niet. Of ik heb hier ook nog heel veel EX. Vroeger spaarde ik die altijd, dus die heb ik allemaal netjes in een mapje gedaan. Ik weet niet of dit je interesseert. Dus als ik wat betere foto's of video's moet sturen, moet je het maar even aangeven. Ga ik even naar JJ Boske sturen.
Matches as they were yesterday. And if that continues, you got to look at that threshold from when they qualified. 25th yesterday in the upper bracket, had 91 points. So that's the threshold they're looking to come close to, even past to give themselves the best chance to the global championship final. First place is a $1 million split between two. That's more than enough money. Even I know what to do with.
Well, it depends on who you're asking.
True, I might just buy food. $1 million worth of food. Noxie, Chris, trying to rotate away. Hen and Vasquez trying to make up for that last game. At least they have the Rift Island underneath their belt from game 1, giving them a 15-point boost. They just have to try to continue that pace. They've done more than enough work in the first half.
Sometimes it really feels like nobody wants to be the first person to shoot. When you can tell that there are so many other teams surrounding you, the moment that you sound off shots, it just draws so much unwanted attention. And then you have to split your focus. And how many times already have we seen teams where they try to separate a duo? Maybe they're temporarily successful, but even with that circumstance on the mountain north of Brutal, but more on that later. Because right now, Skit, Sorif, we're talking about them wanting to get a little bit more active here. Shot not going to connect in the way that they would have hoped. Maven Auto primed, ready to go here for Skits.
Laten we hopen dat hij reageert. We hopen dat hij reageert, chat.
Crouch walking, just seeing what he can come across here. Greedy Raru. Gotta be susceptible. Drop into their box. Maven Auto shots are firing, but it's gonna be Sorif who comes out on top. Ultimately, the tag team damage more
GX Pokémon kaart zijn altijd boven de €20. GX, wat is GX?
For Skits and Sorif.
A double elbow drop off the top.
Wat is GX?
Cleaned house, Fishy, and DMK. Trying to go for Rift Island. DMK taking some damage, and that's the
Yo, Butu.
Even though there's a lot of information, a lot of line of sights over on the top of Rift Island.
Maar ik ben benieuwd, man, boys. Misschien komt JJ Boske wel soon langs. Je weet het niet. Je weet het niet.
Nobody really contesting it. Maybe one team nearby thinking about it. But I don't think that one's going to come to fruition. So for them, it is going to be a free 15 points. A whole lot of loot on top of that as well.
Maar ik heb hem DM gestuurd, dus kijken of die reageren. Ik zei van... Kijk, wat zei ik? Ik zei van... Hey, ik heb er wel een paar, ik stuur zo wat foto's. En daar heeft hij op gelijk dat hij het leuk vond, dus... Ik heb echt geen verstand van Pokémon, ik zeg je eerlijk, ik ook niet, man. Ik heb gewoon vroeger gespaard en ja. Yo, Jaro, welkom back, maat. Yo, Swaxie. Kijken waar Jay is. Yo, on my way.
They've already got their spot inside of the top 25 for now. It's all about holding on to it. Staying consistent.
Mr. 7 gaat choken? Ik denk het niet, man. Hij staat nu gewoon op call.
Kind of looks like a free rotation in towards the zone. Almost
Stel je voor je hebt de een van heel veel geld. Dat zou ziek zijn. Zou ziek zijn.
Not much to worry about, but as the zone continues to pull in that direction, if they don't get it, they're going to have to go through some of these teams.
It's looking like a predominantly dead side rotation here for MK Papa and Shalom, and the question is, how much surge were they actually able to acquire throughout that process? Because we've seen plenty of times teams, they'll have great positioning because of dead side rotations, but they won't have the surge to go with it, and then they're forced into moments of desperation.
Baby gek, baby loco.
Ideal positioning, and oftentimes their lives in the process, because what other option do you have when you've got that storm surge damage rate?
Die van Gogh wordt niet meer weggegeven in het museum, dat wordt meer waard. Klopt.
He's trying his best to not to have to worry about that storm surge. Doing good so far, 259.
Rapid and Batman Booger were the ones positioned behind them. You see them with the yellow markers on your mini-map down below. Since it is going to be in the storm, they're going to have to rotate, give up some of that elevation. That way they can save some of that HP and those heals for later on in the same game. Kaizen and Clement. A lot of teams kind of falling behind in this game when it comes to the zone. At least 4 of them right before
Kliks natuurlijk zo actie. Kom op, man.
second pass is going to make it harder for them to try to
Maak
survive.
YouTube shorts. Je goed voor abonnees. Ja, klopt man. Bro.
In order to get that HP back, but if you look at both Kaizen and Clement, they have more than enough heals to make it possible to get into the zone.
Loco.
Decent amount of teams also looking to conglomerate over at the Drift Ridge. When racetrack is
Zitten ze gewoon in zone, jongens.
like Clement and Kaizen that have to run through that territory, you have to expect that it is going to be incredibly difficult to actually make it through unscathed. Or they might have a nice opportunity to look for some of those third-party circumstances. Only time will tell, but right now, the story for Fatch and Pamsto definitely seems to be as if they're already situated. A really nice elevated position so far, well ahead of where they need to be. Vico and Pink could definitely be in some trouble here.
Pamsto and Fatch, they spotted out a rift far along that ridge, waiting for somebody to try to go for it. Probably being their plan A, waiting for the zone to pull in. That's where they're gonna put their eyes back on it. As King and Phaser, they're just trying to reunite, get the most out of those splashes. We've already seen King put on a show yesterday in the upper bracket with that sniper. Trying to do it here yet again. And you can see the difference in augments between the two teams. First shotgun is gonna have the commonality between the two, but now they get aggressed on that. Position. That's Aim and Zazie who aren't afraid to take a fight against Brazil's best, and they come out on top for now.
Moneymakers speelt ook, ja.
Another team drops in. That's Cal Gamer and 7man that take advantage of the third party. Getting all the loot, all the resources.
Zeg je eerlijk, als je controle bent, ben je een lul, man.
They're just adding each tool to their tool belt.
That's just salt in the wounds there. To have to watch your opposition just reap the benefits of your bounty. No celebration time for eliminations in certain situations. 7man and Calgamer, though, definitely more than happy for what they managed to stumble across. Other teams, though, that would certainly be happy if they could add a couple more points, a couple more eliminations to their count. Duke and Edgy.
Even eten en smakelijk, maar zo. Smakelijk, Koski.
Struggled throughout day number 1, but here in day 2, hoping to have the resurgence in order to find themselves in that finals lobby for the Global Championship Sunday.
Yeah, and you can see where the zone's heading on this game as well. Very, very similar to that last. We're going up mountains, down water. You got to be able to prepare for that, and luckily for them, it did just happen once before. They got to be able to try to mimic the blueprint if they did make it far, change things up if they did not, as Kanata and Agers this time around trying to rotate as a full duo, leaving nothing for one person to try to handle. And so far, it is looking well. They're trying to go up the side of this mountain where not too many teams are positioned so far, but they run into both Lucy and Steno momentarily, who are getting caught sleeping there for a moment, so that gives them a free path towards the zone, and for them that's a little bit of a blessing. On the other side, Rapid not feeling that same thing. The slurp juice is going to be popped though. It runs out just as we tune on board, so it's going to be up to them to try to find some sort of
EX kaart tonen? Ja hoor.
Maybe to drop somebody down because they realize without no builds, without any heals, now becoming the focus, they have to think outside of the box to make this happen.
Right now, QND is just hoping that somebody else can divert the attention from these teams surrounding them, but it is a relentless amount of suppressive fire into these box edits, and QND Rapid, they finally get a moment to focus, but they're not the only team that's found themselves.
Deze zeldzaam? Ik weet het niet, man, bro. Ik weet het echt niet.
Still looking to power through, still looking to make their way. Cheating.
Maar ik heb Gigi en Boske een bericht gestuurd, dus...
Don't know who Fahad thought he was shooting at alongside Hero, but Cheatin, he had everything in his arsenal to make some magic happen. Granted, Hero and Fahad were relatively low stepping into that engagement, but Cheatin not one to stray away from a clutch situation.
Dan opzoeken op Pokémon website, ik weet het. Nieuw profielfoto. Kom je daar nou aan?
But it's the HP that is really
Die Japanse kaart is ongeveer 20 euro. Ja. Ja. Ik moet even kijken, man. Ik heb JJ Bosque een berichtje gestuurd, dus... Oh, de Alvientje. Peter reageert die even, mijn chat.
They made that rotation around Mega City, trying to dodge the line of sights of both Clicks and Epicwell and everybody else on the side of that mountain. They've been doing a good job. They were at the top of the leaderboard and they're holding on to their position. You see them there in 6th place. If they can continue this consistency, remember the 91-point threshold. It isn't official, but you got to imagine it's going to be close.
But depending on where Batman Booga actually chooses to throw that business turret, he might be able to catch some of these teams off guard or at least get some decent information. So much congestion though. Looking for a way to turf through. They know they're gonna have to take some fights first before they can get anywhere. Clownski, Girls, gonna fall right in front of their very eyes. Pink and Vico surrounding Mr. Savage and Vidil as well. It's gonna be two players trying to enter the box. Ursa eliminated off a rip. Mr. Savage did not come to mess around. And Vidil, immediate backup fire. These two are just tearing through right now.
That was huge. They didn't even look the direction of Mr. Savage, not even once. And that was 2 huge shots that he used to his advantage.
Sami? Wat is er met Sami?
Finally find their way in towards zone, but as soon as they do, it pulls towards
Boys, ik heb geen zin meer om te kijken, man. Ik kijk al bijna 2 uur eigenlijk.
On that side of the map compared to the north side.
Het is wel eigenlijk lang.
Fight their way through.
Ik heb honger.
Very little heals to their name. At least Epicwell, once it slows down just a little bit, can throw that business turret down, try to get some information, but for now they're trying to beat everybody else to the punch. They don't want to be the ones that are being held out by more than half of the lobby, and you can see the different elevated teams, some high in the sky, others far below.
Ik heb nu wel 2 uur. You're the best, Yassine. You're the best.
Even Byla picking up an elimination. Kaizen's left by himself. Epicwell trying to survive. He's doing everything that he can because placement points haven't really set in. A huge shot towards the back, and he goes down before able to stabilize and use that slurp juice, and that's going to be a huge treasure for somebody to find.
Massive for Lucy and Steno.
Zoals de guy die eerste is, die is dood, man.
It's gonna be a scramble.
En top 3 is ook dood.
Gotta get a move on in order to make it. As the moving zones will become all the more problematic.
Je heeft sowieso gewonnen, sowieso.
Savage, they've done an excellent job at just holding down their positioning in that mid ground.
I was gonna say it looked like a safe rotation, but don't be fooled. Players are hiding around every corner.
Mensen op high.
Gamer and 7-man showing up big here on the high ground for now, but ninth zone.
Ik ken deze mensen niet, man.
Due to rocket rams and sneak attacks, Kaizen's trying to break in and do one of those himself, recycling a bounce pad, hot on the heels of Frosty, but he doesn't go as high, so that player is going to be able to escape for now. And you can see Kaizen, he's trying to recycle as many builds as possible, but he gets tagged up, forced to use, down to 5. At least he has some heals to work with, so he has a chance to stagger himself, but only for so long. He's down on the threshold. MK pop-up falls, leaving Shalom by himself. He has more than enough.
Boys, dit is weer een endgamepje. Dit is weer een endgamepje.
25 builds can be gone just like that, especially when there's so much pressure being applied both above and below you. Shalom just trying to figure out which direction he wants to go next. Maybe spotted out Hen directly next to his box for the time being, but Kaizen, he's still making the most of things. Last
gaat hij hoor, met de rocket ram. Kaboom! 50, 100, 100, goeie kill. Goeie kill. Ai! Canada. Canada leeft nog eens.
Majority of the placement points have already been picked up to this point, but if you want to make sure you qualify, you got to continue going. Vidil under pressure. Mr. Savage said it himself. Vidil is someone I trust to frag out at the end, to pick up these points. If he has a moment to stabilize, he could get some HP back. Shields on top of that, but running out of resources, fresh out, he's going to have to think of something outside of the box. Inside of somebody else's box, into the distance, lands a shot onto Source. That gives him a little bit of a speed boost. Thanks to this accelerated Maven, even gets a knock onto Peterbot before going down altogether.
Dat was een niet Peterbot.
That's going to stop Feederbot's run for the time being. Kanata, though, still keeping things
136 match.
all by his lonesome. Doesn't have agents with them. Does have a nice pickoff.
Hij mist 2 keer.
Be able to connect that Preacher. So good at destroying builds, but can definitely be tough to land some shots.
Cal Gamer on the top, along with Nutty. Hopefully they don't run into each other, but Cal Gamer knows where his teammate did go
match,
down.
man.
Even though the reboot card, some would say he's going after, but it's all that material.
Nada dood. Teammate van Feederbot.
Players are running around as solos.
Geen match. Polarized, jongens. Polarized. On the high ground. Oh nee.
As they fall down below,
108.
Gamer was another one. A nice shot's gonna be landed, but no resources continue to build up for Polarized. But Scented is there. They put the pressure on.
Nice.
A lot of damage, and the siphon goes through. They clean out to take him out. Bylov is next. 2v2 situation. NA versus NA. Duke and Edgy versus Polarized and Scented. But this is gonna be drawn out just a little bit.
Dit wordt een 2v2, jongens.
It's hard to
Wordt
break
een 2v2.
but Duke finally finds the wall that he can bypass. A little bit of builds. Little bit of resources left.
Duke and Edgy, they know that they needed this one. It's been a tough time so far in these first couple of games. And for game number 3, this could definitely be their moment. Polarized and Los, though, they're not looking to let it go anytime soon. And immediately take
Dat is wel echt chemistry, man.
Edgy stood no hope here. Now it's Duke left in a solo clutch situation. 2 of NA's finest directly above. Massive
Nee. What? What the fuck? Nee. Hoe ben je zo goed? The fuck? Hij Polarized gewoon helemaal kapot gemaakt. What the fuck?
That was one of the plays of the tournament so far, the 2v2 situation. You're left solo on your own, and suddenly you jump and you get that shot. Talk me through it.
I'm just in shock. That was like, I don't know, I just one pumped the first kid and side jump and just hit the other one. I don't know. That was
What the fuck heb ik zojuist gezien?
Polarized, you took out your North American brothers. Does that make it any more satisfying?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
And I've got to come over to you. That must have been terrifying watching your partner in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going for a play and it didn't really work, but I'm just playing the best player in the world. You just won it. I don't know.
So Edgy, what's happening then when your
Hoe is hij zo klein? Ik zie het nu pas. Of is hij gewoon zo groot?
I mean, since I'm knocked, I can't really see much. So I'm just letting him focus to his own thing.
Wat zie je? Ik zie het nu pas.
Right there, I wasn't able to help.
And just how much did you need this victory?
Ik zie het nu pas, jongens.
A lot, just so like I could get the qual out the way. Yeah, needed a lot.
And hopefully we will see you in Sunday. I mean, the chances are now very high. What would it mean to raise that trophy tomorrow?
It'd mean the world to me.
Hey, iedereen gaat nu weg. Dus nu gaan ze eten, denk ik.
I just wanna, it'd be amazing.
Well, Dukes, I hope your dreams come true. Thank you so much, Edgy, as well. Congratulations, Copenhagen. Let's hear it.
Zeker. Mini-pack aan. Nou. Hey, Dippy, kappen jij, jongen.
Duke. Dukes.
Klote Diffie.
What on earth are we seeing transpire here on LAN? There is no world where stuff like this can happen, and Dukes just says, watch me. My gosh, the story of this as well. Scented up against Edgy, old teammates. Edgy goes on to win an FNCS. Scented looking for that title. Old teammates head to head, and Dukes is the one to slam the door closed.
I mean, I think we all knew that Dukes had it in him. We've seen him perform on a high level for such a long time. To lose Edgy in this moment, and like you said, the edit with the one pump right there, the side jump, and then another was absolutely incredible, Levin.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was getting ready to come up here and start talking about how I didn't think that was the best play from
Oh, ik zou helemaal gek worden. Hou je ook van al die lullen hierheen? Ja man, dat betekent zie.
I mean,
is goed met jou, later bro.
You saw Duke's reaction. I don't even think he expected to be able to do that. So I cannot wait to see how far they're going to be jumping up now. And that was just such an incredible end to that game. You know that's going to give them the...
Ja jongens, ik ga er ook van door denk ik man.
Criminaliteit ook.
IT-infrastructuren zijn dus cruciaal. En nergens zo om
Deze even goed.
bij de politie.
Ga ook even wat eten en zo weer terug. En laat je stream aan. Nee, Jarro, ik ga... Ik ga zo naar een feestje, man.
Lea is klaar voor haar eerste week.
Hey, dankjewel om je te zien. Later, bro.
Bij McDonald's kijken we naar wat je meebrengt en hoe we dat samen kunnen inzetten. Dat is lekker werken.
Ziek. Ziek, boy. Ziek, 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 ziek.
She's like my biggest supporter, bro. She's like my biggest supporter, bro. And I had to tell her I got fucking disqualified, bro. For fucking God knows what, bro.
I'm a biggie.
Thanks for the pass, I appreciate that.
Dan nog wat over op je feestje? No, I know op je feestje. Hey, TVK op je feestje. Hi jongens. Ik ga ervoor door. Ik wens jullie allemaal nog een hele fijne avond. Laat me niet merken dat jullie niet bij Jordi's casino stream zijn, want daar moet je gewoon bij zijn, snap je? Kijk. Gewoon bij zijn. 750 euro. Alleen, snap je? Wees er gewoon bij, chat. Ik wens jullie allemaal nog een hele fijne avond. En later maar, chat. Jullie. Doei.